Today we're taking a deep dive into the racket setup and playing style of Polish modern defender Jakub Folwarski, a player who perfectly represents what defensive table tennis looks like in the modern era. At first glance, his equipment already tells a clear story. This is not a passive defensive setup. It's a carefully balanced combination designed for heavy backspin, spin variation, and sudden counter-attacks. Let's start with the blade. Jakub uses the butterfly Hyuk blade, one of the most iconic defensive blades ever made. This blade was designed specifically for modern choppers. It has a slightly oversized head, which increases control and stability when chopping from mid to long distance. The larger surface area also enhances dwell time, meaning the ball stays on the racket just a fraction longer, and that's crucial for generating heavy backspin. The Hyuk blade is classified as def, but it's not slow in a passive way. It has enough backbone to support counter loops and offensive transitions. That balance is exactly what modern defenders need: maximum control in defense, but the ability to switch gears instantly. Now let's talk about his forehand rubber butterfly Tenergy 05. This is where things get interesting. Tenergy 05 is one of the most aggressive, spin-oriented offensive rubbers ever created. It has a high arc, tremendous spin potential, and explosive power when you commit to the shot. For a defender to choose Tenergy 05 shows clear intent. This is not someone who wants to just survive rallies. This is someone who wants to create pressure. When Folwarski steps around or gets a slightly higher ball, he can produce heavy topspin with serious quality. The high throw angle of Tenergy 05 makes it easier to counter loop against heavy topspin, which is essential for a modern defender who often plays from mid-distance. His forehand is not just a backup plan. It's a weapon. On the backhand side, he uses Victas curl P1V with 1.0 mm sponge thickness. The P1V is one of the most respected long pips rubbers for defensive play. It is known for producing very heavy backspin when chopping and for maintaining stability against powerful loops. The choice of 1.0 mm sponge is also very deliberate. It provides more control than thicker sponge versions, while still giving enough elasticity to load the ball with backspin. Thinner sponge improves consistency in long defensive rallies and helps absorb incoming speed. That means he can handle heavy loop after heavy loop without losing control. But the P1V is not just about defense. With proper technique, it allows for spin variation, heavy chop, float ball, sudden change in depth, all of which are key tools in disrupting an opponent's rhythm. Now let's connect this equipment to his playing style. Jakub Folwarski plays as a true modern defender, sometimes called a neo-defender. This means his foundation is classical chopping, but his mentality is dynamic and tactical. From mid-distance, he produces deep, heavy backspin chops that force attackers to generate their own power. His placement is precise: wide angles, sudden changes down the line, variation in depth. He doesn't just return the ball, he builds pressure through variation. One of the key characteristics of his game is spin variation. Using the P1V long pips, he can alternate between very heavy backspin and lighter, floatier returns. This creates hesitation in opponents. Attackers must constantly adjust their timing and racket angle, which increases the chance of errors. But what truly defines him as a modern defender is his transition game. The moment he receives a slightly weaker loop or a ball that sits up just a little too high, he switches instantly to offense. With Tenergy 05 on the forehand, he can counter loop aggressively from mid-distance or step in and attack closer to the table. These offensive bursts prevent opponents from becoming too comfortable. In today's table tennis, pure passive defense is rarely enough. Modern attackers are too powerful and consistent. That's why players like Folwarski must threaten with offense. His setup allows him to defend safely, but also to punish hesitation. In today's table tennis, pure passive defense is rarely enough. Modern attackers are too powerful and consistent. That's why players like Folwarski must threaten with offense. His setup allows him to defend safely, but also to punish hesitation. The Hyuk blade provides control and feel. The Victas P1V ensures heavy, consistent chopping with variation. The Tenergy 05 delivers explosive offensive capability. Together, they create a system built not just to defend, but to control, frustrate, and strike. Jakub Folwarski is a great example of how defensive table tennis has evolved. It's no longer about simply surviving rallies. It's about manipulating spin, changing tempo, and choosing the perfect moment to attack. And his racket setup reflects that philosophy perfectly.